the executives around the table. Thank you for coming. On behalf of the RSL and the Directorate on Corruption and Economic Offenses, I'm really grateful. Thank you for making it here. I want to inform you that the RSL remains determined in its mission to enable government funding, foster a fair tax environment, maintain financial stability and sustainability, and mostly root out corruption within its ranks as outlined in our own organizational strategy, Lesokwana 2024 to 2027. As you recall, Lesokwana was officially launched in December 2023 and implemented in April 2024. The RSL has been hard at work since the last quarter of the financial year, preparing for the ground for a smooth implementation of Lesokwa. You would also recall that one of the strategic moves that the RSL embarked on was to elevate its collaboration with its critical strategic partner, the DCEO, the agency mandated to combat corruption in Lesotho. This strategic move was prompted, amongst others, by the identification of corrupt practices within the ranks of some of the RSL employees. Investigations conducted have led to some dismissals and prosecution of implicated members of staff. Additionally, several others have been placed on suspension pending the completion of investigative process. The RSL remains resolute in its effort to eradicate corruption and to uphold the highest standards of integrity within our operating environment. Corruption within the ranks of RSL does not only erode public trust, but also hampers our capacity to generate the much needed revenue to fund essential government services. But RSL cannot successfully fulfill its mandate of enabling government funding when some of its employees, in collusion with some corrupt taxpayers and traders, are diverting public resources for personal gain. The mission to foster a fair tax environment also cannot be achieved if some traders and some taxpayers are aided and collude with corrupt elements to evade tax and customs obligations, while others dutifully pay their fair share. The strategic collaboration between the RSL and the DCEO is focused mainly on the following. embarking on preventative strategies, detecting acts of corruption, investigating and prosecuting offenders, preservation and seizure of the proceeds of crime. Bahlompe, our commitment and the message we are sending as two institutions today is simple and straightforward. Crime does not pay. And literally, you can run, but you cannot hide. I want to inform you that as a result of this collaborative effort, last week, a total of 6 RSL employees and former employees deployed at Fiesback or Maputo border appeared before the magistrate court in Liribe, charged with counts related to corruption, bribery, and money laundering. The said are the following: Mabareki Shabati, Tsediso Mokgeti, Khalani Muletsani, Atang Leleka, Tlohelo Ramajwe, and Dikele Disibeko. Today, Friday, 20 September 2024, 7 RSL employees and former employees, 5 of which were deployed at the anti-smuggling unit and 2 at Maseru border post, appeared before the Maseru Magistrate Court, charged with counts related to corruption, bribery, and money laundering. The 7 are the following: Mampetene, Thabo Matsinyane, Lebopa Monaheng, Majara Mapeshwani, Molebatsi Motsamai, Makeketso Tulo, and Lebohang Ranset. The above-mentioned employees and former employees have been inducted on charges related to corruption and money laundering as indicated. They face allegations of violating Section 80, subsection 1 of the Penal Code Act of 2010, as well as alternative charges under Section 81B, 81(1)K, and 109(3) of the Penal Code, and Section 25(1)A, 25(I), and 25(2) of the Money Laundering Act. These employees and former employees of the RSL, if convicted, they could face direct imprisonment without an option of a fine. The RSL reiterates its position and commitment to zero tolerance to corruption. Zero tolerance to corruption and crime in all its forms. Any employee, therefore, found engaged in corrupt practices shall face the full might of the law. The RSL, in collaboration with our partner, the DCEO, shall ensure that all monies illegally obtained from the public funds are recovered and redirected to the public coffers. Bahlomphegi, the RSL is determined to create an environment where every taxpayer and trader is treated fairly and equally, and where the public resources are safeguarded for the benefit of our beloved Lesotho and our beautiful people. We therefore urge the taxpaying community and all members of the public to continue supporting our institutions by reporting suspicious activities. All reported allegations or suspicions or suspicious conduct will be thoroughly investigated and acted upon without fear, without favor or prejudice. Bomele Montate, on the same wavelength, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the members of the RSL, the honest employees we have in this institute, the honest employees who continue to consistently perform their noble duties with diligence and professionalism. The noble employees who signify a clear commitment and demonstrate alignment with the purpose of our existence as an organization, a purpose which is to positively impact the livelihoods of Basotho. In conclusion, myself, on behalf of the RSL, and our valued partner, Dr. Knox, on behalf of the DCEO, we wish to commend and express our appreciation to our joint investigation teams who are working tirelessly in ensuring that we root out corrupt elements within our ranks so that we are able to fulfill our various mandates. Bahlomphegi, RSL Mona, we indicated that the core of our strategy, Kelesokwa, essentially it means that tshebetsong ya rona ha re no kgona ho ema re le bang. Mosebetsi wa ho hlokomela the public resources le ho etsa bonnete ba hore di ya mo di tshwanetseng, re ke ra kgona ho etsa re le bang. Ha ke eme mona letsatsing lena le Ntate Knox, ke kopa ho le neletsa as the members of the public, Basotho ba batle, lesokwana ke leno, ha re thusaneng ho etsa bonnete ba hore the resources tsa rona, valuable resources, adequate resources, di sebeletsa Basotho le setjhaba sa Basotho ho isa naha ena ya rona pele. Our economy shouldn't be this poor, we shouldn't be struggling. Re kopa le re thuseng. Lesokwane ke leo. I thank you.
Thank you, Menata. Over to you, Ntate.
Ke a leboha Mhlompe. Motsamaiso wa dipuisano, ke kopa o ntumelle hore ke kamanya le tumediso tse se dientswe ke mme commissioner. Ke tle ke kene le kweteng straight away. Ke batla o qala ka hore there's no best way to explain or to describe the word collaboration. Jwalo ka lentswe kapo lebitso la papadi ena ya rona ya lesokwana. As the DCEO, we were very clear from the outset that the fight against corruption can never be won by the DCEO on its own. When the RSL made a clarion call to say, Hela Homiwil, Rebonala, Mokota, Walitro, Lecture Tamuso, Upunyeile, Tronlitlo Tuseta. Harakaba Rabali Sisiteo, Rilaka Potlaka, Me Radula Fase, Rashibisanawana, Botata Bokai, Me Fudamono Rana, Ratlasbezalwa. The first task that we undertook was to identify our priority focus areas where we felt that the state, observed that the state was losing significantly large amounts of monies through fraud, corruption. When we delved into our analysis, it became quite clear that the involvement of large corporates across all industries, textile, supply of goods and commodities, mining, were actively involved in this series of criminal activities that were depriving or diverting the state's resources. Collectively, those activities could well be described as trade-based money laundering because they were being committed during the course of the business operations of those in those industries. There's also the cross-border element. A fair amount, substantial amount of funds are being siphoned out of the country within the context of these fraudulent activities, thus depriving Lesotho of the funds that are due to its fiscus. Commissioners, at the fore of these activities, we identified the involvement of the very officials that are often seized with the responsibility of ensuring that they prevent such losses. Mary Lara Kileza Hore. We felt that the fight against corruption started with us. We've observed a great amount of collusion between the state officials and these big corporate industries that I mentioned. And these activities manifest themselves in different ways. The fraudulent VAT refunds, under declaring of goods, and flooding our local markets with this counterfeit and often harmful food substances that were never intended for human consumption. Counterfeit whiskey, brandy, the well-known brands. Lesotho is not an island, it is equally exposed to those business practices. I want to take this opportunity to perhaps as a reminder to say, often when we talk about corruption, we talk about government corruption, but the fact and the reality is the location corruption is precisely at the private sector because they have the financial muscle to admin and corrupt our system. So I deliberately want to put the spotlight on those legitimate business or industries that turn a blind eye on our systems, our laws, and contravene them deliberately to maximize their profit to the detriment of our societies. There are days I'm numbered. Any of those that are involved in corrupt practices that has the effect of depriving our citizens of their entitled resources, we are soon going to catch up. No commissioner has emphasized the point that part of our strategy will be to target the proceeds of the very crimes that they've committed. not only are we going to work hard to send people to jail, we are also going to make sure that they do not derive a benefit from their ill-gotten gains. Part of the activities that we are going to undertake to bolster the initiative against in the fight against corruption is to conduct lifestyle audits on our officials. It has been our observation that some of those that are implicated and arrested can hardly explain the sources of income and the wealth that they currently possess. So the lifestyle investigations and audits are going to be an essential feature of our investigations. Merere, we have noted our common challenges, I think, as law enforcement. And we are resolved that the practice of working in silos is no longer tenable. It is precisely for this reason that we make a significant impact on crime. Gone are those days when I think your criminal syndicates would capitalize on the lack of capacity and perhaps even the incompetence on some of our agency members. I'm saying this precisely to emphasize the point that part of our initiative and joint operation will be to see how we capacitate ourselves, make available the much needed resources that will enable us to make a significant impact in the fight against corruption. I also want to end up by saying, lastly, it is quite important to strike a balance between an investor-friendly environment, but also an that does not tolerate crime or corruption. So this hopefully should serve as a stern warning to both our local, our citizens, our local business industry, our international investors, to say, you're very well much welcome to invest in our country, but the one thing that we are not going to allow is for anybody to deliberately compromise our systems to the detriment of the fiscus. Bang hopotsa gore ke khutlela mantsweng a mme commissioner gore le ha re bapala le sokwana go ba tsena tse re ne re le fa tsona tsa tsenena ke mofao eo re tla leboa ha o ka fihla setjhabeng. It is essentially a clarion call to say all of us must rally in the fight against corruption to make sure that we make Lesotho a corrupt-free country.
Every time I look at my mom, I see my world. I see a protector, a provider. I see a friend like no other. Sometimes I sit and wonder, how do we protect such beautiful creatures? Well, sometimes you can't, especially against things like death. The least we can do is to encourage them to take Tari funeral plan, because they take care of us when they are here, and Tari will take care of us when they are gone.
The countdown to the second International Political Campaigns Expo IPE 25 has begun. We are thrilled to invite you to register for the most electrifying political campaigns event of the year. This year's theme is Unlocking Voting Potential, the art of resourcing and skilling for winning campaigns. Look forward to innovative exhibits, interactive sessions with industry trailblazers and unparalleled networking opportunities. Connect with political campaign professionals from over 26 African countries holding elections in 2025 and 2026. Gain exclusive insights into the latest trends and technologies driving political campaigns. Mark your calendar for January 23rd and 24th, 2025 and be part of the future of political campaigning. Visit www.internationalpollexpo.com to register. We can't wait to see you there.
My name is Madia. I flew in from Johannesburg. I found the flight through a social media post, Facebook to be exact.
How did you find the flight from Johannesburg to Marseille?
Very short, but comfortable. Actually better than I expected for a small charter flight.
Was there a reason why you hadn't chosen a competitor?
I think for me it was mostly about convenience and effective communication between the airline over email and messaging.